What is happening, everybody? All right, so we're going to give about a minute or so for people to hop on and come play. For today, we're going to be nice, quick, concise, no fluff. We're going right into the technique that you're going to need to learn today. UVI, super duper important. If you're here, do me a solid. If you're in Arizona, let me know how you feel about it getting. So I was literally doing a live video today in my car, and it was about 3 minutes long, and my phone already overheated. It stopped on its own because it got so hot. Luckily, I was at the end of what I wanted to say, but still, I was like, dang it, man. It completely overheated. So anyway, today, big one, UVI. Just because today's lesson is short does not mean that this is not an important topic. It's actually probably not the most, but one of the most important topics that we're going to cover. So if you are with me, please do me a solid, smash that heart button, and let me know how you feel about it being monsoon season as well. I don't know if you guys know, if you're not from Arizona, you might not know what monsoons are. Monsoons are our big, huge rainstorms that it's like a microburst. You'll get a big dust wall coming in, and then you'll get a ton of rain. Super cool. But I guess today is monsoon. Start of monsoon season. And last year, I don't think we got one. Last year was weird though. So hopefully this year we get a bunch. They are awesome. They're like one of my favorites. Super cool. Anyways, without further ado, let's get things rocking and rolling. Okay, so day 2, we went from 5 days to 4 because I switched. I was able to make one thing match into one, which is really cool. So day number 2 of the Cure Challenge is UVI, and it involves this little graph here, or this little box. So with this box, there's certain things in our plate, if you will, that we have to put into categories, right? We have to categorize actions, thoughts, processes, behaviors, schedules into things that are going to help us or things that are not going to help us for what we want versus what we don't want, right? And if we can think of these things all as things that are going to progress us forward or not, it allows us to really make good decisions based on what we want to do and why we're going to do it, which is the best. Okay. And so UVI stands for urgent versus important. Okay. And there's a spectrum of each of these things, right? Urgent and important, urgent and unimportant, important, non-urgent, unimportant, non-urgent. Okay. And each of these things have different buckets that we can put things in that allow us to really take things off of our plate, that allow us for better decision making and sets us up for long-term success. Okay. Now let's dive into each of these. Urgent and important. Okay. This is where a lot of people will live in. A lot of people, when their back's against the wall, they'll do something, including myself. This is how I used to operate. I'd only do something when it became, if I don't do it, bad things will happen right now. Okay. And I can tell you, living this way with your health is not the place you want to live in. You do not want to live in, hey, let's hope that things go well. And if it doesn't, I'll have to go to the doctor to let them check me out to see if it's time for me to do something about it. It's definitely where you don't want to live in. Okay, you want to live in a place where you can get ahead of the game, and we'll go talk about that in a second. Urgent and important things are things that literally, the only things that fit in this bucket are things that if you do not do them, bad things will happen to you or the people that depend on you for life. Okay, your spouse doesn't always depend on you for life, right? So some of their things don't quite match either. And I'll give you a real world example in just a minute. Okay. Urgent and important things like going to the hospital, pulling over when a cop's pulling you over. What else? Stopping the bleeding, losing a job, things like that. Those are urgent and important. If you do not get these things taken care of right this second, bad things will start happening. That's exactly where that's at. Okay. Next, urgent and unimportant. These are things that are other people's problems that we take on that's urgent for them, but not important to us, right? It is not going to make or break my day if my cousin's sister's dog runs away. I don't know them, right? I don't care about the dog. So I'm not going to stop all that I'm doing to make that happen, right? And nor should I, right? Another example, literally today, my wife messaged me and she said, "Hey, I have boxes in the front of the house that I need for work. Could you come and drop it off?" And then she immediately said, if you have time to do that, if not, I can send somebody to go get it, right? I do have some time. I'm doing this video now instead of later so that I can do that, right? I still get what I need done and my things that are important to me. And I could still help her and assist in that. Now, if I wouldn't have shot this video and I didn't get some things done this morning, I wouldn't have. I have other things that I need to do that are important to me that I need to get done. And that's how you would want to operate when helping other people. You don't want to stop everything that you do to help everybody else. And although it's awesome and it's really kind and gracious of you to do that, the reality is that if you continue to do that to whoever it is for a long period of time, they are then going to be dependent upon you to help them always, instead of creating the skill set to help themselves. And the more often you do that, it leads them to depend on you for more things. And magically, then you are basically raising another human that is an adult that should be able to handle things themselves, right? Like, I'm not going to drop everything I'm doing if somebody needs to get taken to the airport. Sorry, get an Uber. You know what I mean? Like, do that. Do it for yourself. Give yourself that sort of gift of being independent and understanding that it is your thing, especially if it's something urgent, like, hey, you should have thought about that way beforehand. That's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility. Okay. Very similarly, if somebody messages me while they're at a restaurant that they had planned for a month, asking what they should eat on the menu, and I'm doing something, like if I'm shooting this right now and I get that message, they should have figured that out a long time ago. Lesson learned. Look up stuff. Figure it out. Do it on your own. Like, those are some skills that you're going to need to have anyways. So you might as well work on that right now, right? And it's not me being mean. It's just me being truthful. If I'm constantly helping other people put out their fires, they're screwed too. That sucks, right? They don't want that. They don't want to be dependent upon me forever, nor should they, okay? But far too often, because there's this little gap here, we let unimportant crap go into our urgent and important. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can make it not that way by allowing people to be independent. And if they absolutely need help, as long as you are taken care of, you can. That's how we want to operate. Now, non-urgent and unimportant. That's this box here, right? This is stuff that you don't need to do, and it's not important if you do it or don't do it, right? This is like pest control, oil changes, folding laundry, things that if you could think, could I spend $5-10 to have somebody else do this for me, or 30 or 40 bucks, wherever your threshold is, have somebody else do this for me so I don't have to do it? That's where those things live. So we've had people come clean our house. I've had people do pest control. I have had people do junk removal from my backyard, pick out our weeds, all those things. I could spend 2-3 hours doing that, or I could give somebody $100 and have them do it. And then I could spend time doing things that I'm good at, because they're good at that and they get paid to do that. And that's not a slight against them or me. If I was really good at picking weeds, I would do that instead of doing this, because that's where my area of genius is. It's not, though. That's not where I play. I play in this. I play in, how do I help people be better? And you could pay somebody $100 to do your weeds. So do that. Okay. If you have the means to, obviously, right? So there's that. Now, where we want to live is important and non-urgent. Okay, type down below where we need to live. It's important and non-urgent. Okay, reason being is imagine this situation. Imagine yourself, I don't know, 5 months ago. And you're looking at 5 months ago and you see today you're doing something that you knew about 5 months ago, but then it turned into important and urgent because you didn't do it 5 months ago. Imagine you did do it then. Today, life would be easier, right? It would be so much easier. And it's because you're working on things that are not due right now, but that are important and will eventually become urgent and important if they are not taken care of. Make sense? If it makes sense, give me some laughing emojis down below so I know that we're on the same page. Because the reality is, life is much easier when you're playing ahead, right? I work on projects that are like not due for 3 months. And so if there's a day where I spend 6 hours, 7 hours doing something that turns out isn't the thing that I want it to be, I don't stress over it. Good. Sweet. It's only 6 hours and I'm working 3 months ahead. I can waste that. I could find that time that was spent was finding a way for something that wasn't going to work, which is a big freaking win in my book. Imagine if I built something, the entirety of something 3 days before it was due in 3 days and realized that it wasn't going to do what I thought it was going to do. It would make everything suck. I'd have to postpone things. I'd look so unprofessional. That would stink. So I work things way ahead of time so I don't have to worry about it. It's all done. It's set up, which is sweet. And these sorts of things also pertain to your health, right? Working out right now is not for today. There's benefits of it for today, but it is not for today. It's for tomorrow. It's for the strength that we can build tomorrow to help burn more calories, to have more energy, to feel better. Eating food is not for right now. Sure, it makes you less hungry, but it's also so your body can run properly, so you can see another day. Sleeping. Very important for today and tomorrow. I don't know about you. If you get really crappy sleep the night before, the next day's harder. Okay, so if you put in your calendar and you have things set up to where your important and non-urgent are non-negotiables in your calendar that say, every day I'm doing these things, hell or high water, then magically, when you do them, things are working better for you. And the times that you aren't and the times that you don't, magically, things get harder because you're constantly living in important and urgent, running around, putting out fires that aren't necessarily your fires to put out because you allowed other people's unimportant and urgent stuff leak in to your important and urgent, and then you're spending too much time in the unimportant and non-urgent, putting off things on your checklist that make you feel like you're doing stuff, but it's really not moving you forward, and you're not focusing on any of the hard things, which is the important and non-urgent, the non-sexy stuff, right? The stuff that's the boring work, right? Preparing your meals is boring. Planning your meals is boring. But you know what's not boring? Consistent results. A life that allows you long-term to beat your goal weight. Because I can promise you this, in order for you to stay at your goal weight, in order for you to achieve long-term success, these are necessary. This is a necessary skill amongst the other two things I'm going to teach you in yesterday are necessary things to do so that the weight will stay off. And by you choosing not to do them and learning this as I'm teaching it to you for free, you are blatantly going to say, I don't want long-term goals. I don't want long-term. I want to keep fighting this weight loss thing forever. I want every day to think about my weight instead of thinking about how great life is. And that's fine. I could see it. I don't agree with it, but I could see that. But I promise you there's a better way. There is a better way. There's an easier way. And that way involves you working on these sorts of things, prioritizing your schedule, not being a jerk about saying no to other people's non-important and urgent things, but saying not right now. Do you want to go out to the bar? Yeah, sure, I'll go. I'll drink my Diet Coke. Why aren't you drinking a beer? Because it's not important to me to do that right now. It doesn't match what I want. Why? Well, because I want health and I want those things. And that's a far higher priority on my schedule and on my mind than the beer today, right now. Makes sense? You see how these two even stack on top of each other? So important. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Tomorrow, I will have the calendar link on there. I had to rush home and kind of do this at a funky time, which explains why not many people are watching this, which is totally fine. When you do watch it, please put #live down below so that I know that you're watching it live. Otherwise, have a great freaking day. And of course, if you have any questions about stuff, just comment them below. Beyond that, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll put it in the events so you guys can be there, and make sure to send out a reminder. Talk to you then.